We've covered a lot of distance in this lecture on interaction theory, and I'd like to wrap up by bringing us back down to earth a little bit. Erving Goffman is one of my favorite interaction theorists, and he is actually one of the easiest theorists to understand. He talks in no-nonsense language, and he has a very good way of explaining his interpretations of how we exist in society, how interaction theory works. And the body of his work is called the dramaturgical approach, the root word here being drama. And Erving Goffman essentially says that the world is like a stage. To lay the foundations for Goffman's assertions about how we act and interact in social settings, Goffman says that humans are active and knowledgeable beings, that we are not passive creatures waiting around for things to happen to us, but that we have knowledge in our brains that help to drive the way we decide to behave. And in that respect, we are active in the process of behavior and the process of developing society. He also believes that humans devise their own conduct, and that this is something that each individual must arrive at on their own. He doesn't say that there are no external influences to that. Obviously, if we're interacting with other people, there are external influences. But he gives a lot more credit to the individual than to the structure. He says that humans are a little devious, that we want to guide and control how other people see us. And that's honestly, I think, very, very relevant. We don't leave the house every morning dressed in our pajamas without having brushed our teeth and combed our hair. We leave the house in a way in which we are reasonably comfortable that our presentation is going to be okay with people, that when they see us they aren't going to recoil because we look a mess. He also believes strongly that human beings act differently in social settings around other people than they do when they're alone. And again, I think he's hit pay dirt here. I think that we do, when other people aren't around and we're by ourselves and we can do what we want to do, we do behave differently than when there is an expectation placed on us by society, by being out there around other people. So in many respects, he believes that human beings are social con artists. He thinks that we have a job to do, and that our job is to put forth the best presentation of ourself that we can. Now, he says that we do this by a process called dramaturgy. This is what he calls the theatrical representation of life, and he breaks it down into two different regions of life, the front stage and the backstage. And he says that we use impression management as a tool to make ourselves look more appealing to other people while we're on the front stage. Now, this is a pretty interesting concept of Goffman's, and a really easy concept to grasp, I think. All of life is like a stage, and he draws on Shakespeare's work to try and think about what this really means to individuals and to social reality. He says that when we're out in social settings, and by meaning out, I don't mean out of our house or out of our car, but I just mean in the presence of at least one other person. This is being social. We're on our front stage when we're in that social venue, that social setting. And he says that in this place, we are like actors in our lives. We are using the tool of impression management while we're on the front stage to try and put our best character out there for other people. Because it's our job, really, to make those people like us, to be accepted into society. And so what we try to do is we try to manipulate the audience into liking us, essentially. All right, and the backstage now, he says, we leave the front stage and we return to the backstage when we are no longer required to be in that social environment. There's nobody around us. We're alone here. This is a place that is closed and hidden from other people, and we practice how to be social in this environment, in the backstage. We relax here. The front that we wear is dropped. We don't have to pretend. We don't have to act because there's no one here to act for. And so we let our guard down a little bit and we behave in a manner that we're comfortable with and that no one else is a part of. So this brings up the question, can anyone else really truly know who you are? Well, I would assert to you that as well as you can know yourself, there may be a few people in your life, perhaps a spouse or partner, perhaps a very close sibling or a best friend that has been a best friend for many, many years, maybe even a parent. These people might have the best grasp on who you are, but in the end, they are not privy to how you truly behave in the backstage region. And so this concept of front stage, backstage that Goffman came up with is very, very interesting and very easy to understand in our daily lives. So let's recap here. The front stage is not an improvisation. We have rehearsed. It is a carefully crafted representation of who we are, and it's what we want others to think about who we are. It is a manipulation of the audience by the actor. The backstage region is where we go to practice all of those techniques by which we're going to manipulate other people. We practice here the techniques of impression management. We relax. Our guard is dropped, the front goes down, and we get to be our authentic self. So these are really, really simple concepts to understand, and Goffman gives us yet another way to understand how we are all behaving in the social world. What I think is most intriguing about the idea of the front stage and the backstage is that every single person in the social setting is doing this. Very interesting. I hope this helps. Take care.